What's going on, guys? Is this thing on? Doom, 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 doom. It is the Bad Wolf, that international man of mystery, that man in black. Well, today, gray ish. Let me know how I sound and all that good jazz because I've never used the YouTube platform. So let me know if you guys can hear me, if I sound good, all that good jazz. At least now I can see how many thumbs up people are giving me. So there's that. Yeah, can't hide no more. I see 10 people. There should be 10 likes in there. Let's go. All right, guys. So this was a last minute kind of jump in. I was going to have A6 Grind Time for those people who know him. My cousin, he also has his A6 Grind Time channel. And he's been feeling better. He's healing pretty well. I don't know if I can come in the chat here because or into the live. I don't have it fully set up. Apparently, you have to have like a third party system. But the regular system, it says you can add people, but I don't see how you can add people on as a guest. So, insert ad, delay ads, highlight, add stream marker, and share. So I don't know if he's going to be in here, but because I don't know how to bring him in. So if not today, probably won't be today, but next time I will have him in here. And of course, I do see people in the chat. Let's see here. Channel as moderator. Channel time report pin. Go to channel activity. All right, and the other software I had, I could put the chat on the screen. It is not showing me those options. All right. Yeah, I was with StreamYard for a while, and then they acted funny. So I'm going to look around. I may go back to StreamYard. I don't know. I think they raised their prices, and I wasn't too thrilled with that. So brings us here back to YouTube Studio. So we'll see how this goes. But I see in the audience, we've got Agent Smith. What's going on, Agent Sir? Always a pleasure to do business and see you here in the public. Frog Dog, good to see you here. King Tony, what's up? Ain't seen you in a hot minute. You've been MIA. Hopefully everything is good. Blessed your way. Blessings to everybody. TRWL, greetings. Thank you. Thank you. Of course, I'm going to try to drop some fire, some nuggets on fire or some fire nuggets. Frog Dog said, Afro Man's corrupt judge got sanctioned for the same thing. And let's see, put him on my case. No, got him. Nice. Mandara, what's going on? Welcome to the family. Justice Advocacy, CA. What's going on? The K. DJ Mfrel. Jonathan Nelson, what's going on? Wireman. We got Kadarian 74. What's going on, everybody out there? I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you for being here. So I just made a video, so I'm going to make a whole video on it, but I'm going to be throwing you guys just nuggets and pieces as we go. I'm going to try to answer some questions. I'm going to talk about the Zoom conference, some personal things for me and whatever else. So I want to start off by saying a client now turns somewhat of a friend who's like, this guy is Billy Badass. He's like totally willing to sue anybody, everybody, all that stuff and go get them. So what he was able to discover for us, us nationals, is the MCO is especially attainable from the dealer. Okay, so this is what happened. He contacted the dealer. He was getting a new car. The dealer said, we can't give you the MCO. Basically, almost like there's no such thing. I don't know what you're talking about, but we got the car if you want it. So after fighting with them, he basically said, you know what? Talk to me. I said, well, the manufacturer has to have it, or they gave it to the dealer at this point in time. So he contacts the dealer. Or no, excuse me, the manufacturer. The manufacturer said, no, the dealer is supposed to give you the MCO upon request. So the dealership, which was Mercedes, calls the dealership. The dealership was then instructed on how to give him the MCO. However, if the vehicle is registered, like the moment you're like, yeah, I want to register for plates and whatever else, the DMV and the state get it. Okay, now here's how they're playing it. So the state wants it, and they're supposed to hold it. The DMV strong arms all the dealers and says, basically, give us the MCO. Give us the MCO. So if you talk to the DMV, the DMV is like, well, the state wants it, so we're only doing what we were told. The state is like, well, the DMV is really responsible, but ultimately you're supposed to be able to get it from the dealer. The dealer is like, no, you guys are the ones who are like, we need to give it over to the DMV. So don't let them fool you. So he's giving them 30 days administrative notice that they are to return the MCO. And if not, he's looking at possibly suing the DMV, the state of, and I won't say the state's name, but, and possibly the local dealer for being in RICO. They're all working together to keep it. And he said that the manufacturers basically came out and kind of lightly said that, well, put it this way, the DMV basically strong arms the dealers via the state to get their hands on it. So why do they want this master certificate of origin? I thought they don't like private things. But see, they need those private things to have jurisdiction over your vehicle or you, whatever you register. And they need it so then they can make the certificate of title. And then they apparently destroy the MCO. So don't let them fool you. That's one of the hot things that just came down the wire, actually just in the last couple of days. What's going on, Jonathan? Let's see who else we got here. Go to channel activity. Yeah, it won't let me put the comments on the screen, or I don't know how to do that yet with this YouTube program. Okay, hold on. It says, I don't want to slaughter your name, brother, but Ajani Mandara 90 looks like your name. Thank you for the $99 love here. Okay, like I said, I put it on the screen, but it's, wait, hold on, let me see if I can. Nope, it's not letting me put it on the screen. So anyway, all right, but I'll answer your question. So it says, so brother, we'll do a consultation for passport stuff to make sure it's still updated. Other than that, stay blessed and hope you get your son back. Hey, thank you, brother. Thank you. You caught me off guard with that one. I appreciate you. I think you to this date have sent the most money as a blessing my way. So blessings to you and yours. Definitely, we will do a consultation. Offhand, everything is still updated. There might be one or two small things, but nothing that should probably affect you. But yeah, I look forward to do my best to help you with whatever you got going on. So don't even worry about it, brother. I got you. Speaking of passports and consultation type stuff, so there's a couple out here Okay. And I won't give their names away, but I'll talk about the story. So long story short, they were going to do a consultation with me. They had paid, and then the lady had messaged me, and she was like, "We're getting ready to have our kid. We're a little low on funds." She goes, and I hate to ask, but can you refund us? And I said, "Yeah, not a problem." I said, "I'll do that." So I not only did I refund them back their money, I actually added a small amount of extra money to um, what they had already paid. Just that's just me paying it forward. And so they actually did a consultation today. They paid extra to do the VIP, and they were also under a time crunch. So I do VIP. Anybody who pays extra, though I will not be doing it next week Sunday. So hopefully nobody bought that's the Sunday spot, because that will be not available in the next minute. So today we did a consultation, and they were telling me how the passport agency, essentially, they're getting their passport for their daughter as a national. They had bought in somebody else's explanatory statement. It had the wrong codes in it. So they dealt with that, and then they dealt with some other minor things. So we were able to address the wrong code usage and not using the explanatory statement for anybody under 18. Do not do that. They are also getting it with no social. They had a home birth. They had everything done, and yet the department still, after them driving 3 hours, still wanted them to come back tomorrow because they wanted some issues, aka they wanted their legal department to run through the information, the explanatory statement, how they filled it out, etc. So we got all that taken care of. They're going to go back this week and get it all done and pick it up. They didn't say no. They just said, "Oh, you're suspended for now until blah blah blah." So we got everything hammered out. They should be good. But yeah, once again, they don't want they don't want your offspring to have a no social national ID. And remember, because your kids are not 18, they can't swear to the explanatory statement. So don't use it. Just fill it out the correct way. That's all you got to do. And always know explanatory statements are optional. But I do believe that they help agents who don't know what you're trying to do. And while you're doing the DS11, this is the only time where your account is open for you to add statements to put it on the record with the government. So get it. All right. But Johnny, I definitely appreciate you, brother, out there. Take care. Thank you for the donation, and thank you for the well wishing. All right. Corey said had to grab my other phone to chat, and he's in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. King Tony said you are speaking facts. King Tony be known his biz. I ain't seen him on in a while, but he's another sharpshooter out there. All right. So yeah, you see this man spitting some lit. You can take whatever he says basically all the way to the bank. And Corey says facts on Johnny. So thank you guys. All you guys appreciate on that. Agent Smith said, is there a copy? Is there a website that allow you to purchase one, or you have to create one with the bond paper? So the online company that was providing MCO blanks, they got mad at me for apparently making them money, or they got mad at me for bringing attention to them providing blank MCOs, and maybe the state got after them. I don't know, but they and other places online can give you a blank MCO. What the system doesn't want you to know is that if the MCO has been destroyed, allegedly by the state and procured by the DMV, you have the right as the owner of the vehicle, the boat, the house, the whatever, to make your own master certificate of origin. That doesn't mean the next person may honor it, or they should honor it because you're the one selling it, but you have a right to create your own title, your own MCO. You cannot label your MCO right from, let's say, Mercedes. You can't say that, But if you create your own MCO and you're basically using that to sign over ownership from you to the next party, you can do that. Now, here's the thing. The state may not like it. They may not want to recognize it, but that is, in fact, then a new original. Anything private, their little secret, should I say it, is called original. And you can make those. Now, the next person who has your vehicle or whatever assets you have where you created your own title, if they go to bring it into the system may say, well, we need that. Give us the original and we'll give you the certificate of title so you can drive legally, meaning as a member of theirs, entitled to their plates, their statutory jurisdictions, and so on. All right. Hold on. The screen just jumped. So we got 44 people in here. We got 28 thumbs up. Let's go. I know there ain't like 20 some people who are watching and don't like me, but want to be just like me. I'm so grimy yet so shiny. All right. Yeah, you said my name right. Okay, I'm just making sure, you know. Share screen, I believe. Yeah, I would share like, oh, maybe share the whole screen. Let me try that. Let me see. Share the screen. Maybe window. Entire screen. Window. All right, we'll try window. I think that works. Also share system audio. Yes. Oh no. All right. Nope, that's not going to do it. All right. Well, that was fun. Some very Doctor Who things going on there. All right. So let's see here. Big John. What up, Big J? I came across this Jen Barnes versus District of Columbia. It's about these municipal corporations and how they separate entities from our government. All right. I will take a look at that. Barnes v. DC 91 US 540. Okay, I'll take a look at that. Appreciate you. Renzo said some UFOs. 2 UFOs? Oh man. Even though I usually talk about the UFO kind of stuff and relationships and technology and whatever on my Badwolf Unrestricted channel, so join me on that channel. I think we're at about 5,000 subscribers, so that's pretty good. All right. Remember, I don't advertise or pay for viewers or subscribers or any of that stuff. So join me over there if you guys could. But yeah, the government is finally starting to release some of the information on the UFOs. If you guys didn't know, we are not alone. We have not been alone, but we have treaties with a majority of them. So don't trip. It is what it is. They've been around longer than some of us have been born. So ain't nothing new. Corey says, or you got to click on it. I forgot. It's been so long. Yeah. Sorry. I didn't study this long enough, but we'll get it. Frog Dog says, I use the UCC and the corresponding Ohio revised code to retrieve my MCO. Okay. Did you get it? Where did you get it from? Was it the state? The state should have had it. Let us know. Trump passed a $250 child support on getting the passport. Yeah, or the 2,500. So it used to be 5,000, and then they lowered it to the 2,500. Well, actually, it was 5,000. Then they, on their own, started doing it if it was 1,500 or more, and then he passed the 2,500. So yeah. And Corey says freaking ads. Yeah, probably because I'm using their damn YouTube thing. So sorry about the ads. I'll try to find another, you know, live platform. It won't let you turn it off really, but the lowest one it says it has is like low. So that's, you know, so sorry about the ads. They won't give me a PP, say I owe state taxes. Oh, for the passport. Yeah, that's kind of a hard one. That we'd have to work on, but yeah, we've managed to get some things done educationally. But yeah, they're pretty stuck on that. Agent Smith says, I believe you can notarize it. I believe you're right. Couldn't you get another from the manufacturer, from Tony? They are supposed to provide that upon request. But I haven't heard of anybody getting it personally. A lot of them have been just jerked off by saying, oh, we only created the original. We don't have that, you know, but I believe that they have the ability to do that. What you're going to have to go through to get it from them, don't know. Frog Dog says only one MCO is ever issued for any auto. Right. Yep. You, like I said, unless you make your own, but the only official is right from the manufacturer. AC22 says, is there a difference between American state national and a state citizen? Okay, so depends on what level you're going to address this. If you're talking about, are they the same thing? Like on the private side, absolutely. There's no difference. Private side, 100% the same thing. On the public side, legally, the state citizen is the correct term, or national of the United States, for a national state citizen. The term American state national has never been made into a code, so they do not recognize the term American state national altogether. They know what an American is. They will address state citizen, but as far as American state national, no, they do not recognize that as a legal term, numbered, codified, or enumerated on the public side. On the private side, yes, those are the same things. On the public side, if it's not national of the United States or state citizen, or non-citizen U.S. national or U.S. national, they do not recognize it. But that's okay. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means that if you're going to try to fight in court and you say, I'm an American state national, they're going to say, we know what a state citizen is. We know what a national is. And that all falls into the American jurisdiction of family. But that term together, they're going to say doesn't exist. King Tony says, but shouldn't you just put a lien on it using the trust and the UCC1? I mastered the lien into my BMW. Yeah, that's one way to go about it. There's lots of ways to take control, more so control over it. But the MCO, if you can have it much like your house's land patent, is the best way and not within their jurisdiction. So it's like you're not even giving them land to stand on. Fuzzy Booger says no aliens from outer space. They're underground or beyond the ice wall. I have heard those things. I definitely know that they're underground, and I definitely know that they're under the ice. The GOV has been busted out by themselves on that. So we know that they're doing those things. So yeah, I don't disagree. Fuzzy Booger says, dog, you keep lagging. Yeah, it's the shitey YouTube platform. I may have to give back in and go back with StreamYard or find somebody else. Does anybody have a good recommendation for a streaming platform for YouTube? Let me know in the comments. I forgot I had this. I forgot I had to resort to using the YouTube one. So I apologize for the disruptions. Agent says, my understanding is take the pink slip, create a MSO with the same information and get it notarized. That can work too. I've done that myself, so I know that works. Can you get a MCO and register your car in your own trust if you lease a car, or do you need to own it? You need to own it. A lease, unless you're doing like a lease to own, but really until you own it, you don't have the right to make a full claim on it. Just like if you're renting an apartment, you can't own the apartment. You cannot, but you can claim the insides as being your nation. Frog Dog says, do not register. Yeah, if you had a possibility, do not register it. I wouldn't. Sunseed, greetings, says, thank you, Wolf. Hi. And hello. Rumble, I hear, is good. Rumble? Okay. I'm on Rumble. I didn't know that you could it could link to doing a live. Peter says try Restream. All right. I did like StreamYard. Never had almost any problems with it, but like I said, they just, went up on their price, and I was like, I'm gonna see what else is out there. I think they're kind of getting a little big on themselves because so many people are using them now that they're like the #1 platform to use. Corey says, I liked Google Meet, like a Meet setting. Can you use Google Meet for a live for YouTube? See, I can record on my Zoom, but I can't connect it to go instantly live, so I can converse with you guys on the live chat. Otherwise, I would just, film it. States that a Frog Dog says ORC 5804.07 states that a trust is not required to be evidenced by a written instrument to be created. Okay, that's good to know. Though its terms must be established by clear and convincing evidence. All right, that's good to know. I don't know if it's compatible with YouTube. It's something like Zoom. Okay. Jump out, girls. What's up, my wolfettes? I love it. I love it. I love it. I ain't seen y'all in a while. Hopefully all the ladies are good. The bad wolf loves the ladies. A little too much. Hopefully y'all out there are being wild. Not too wild, or at least not getting caught. It's always a better way to go. So special shout out to the jump out girls. All right, my understanding is that you can put a vehicle into a trust. If you get a bill of sale, you can transfer the vehicle into your trust. I don't know. Yeah, you can. You don't even, if you're buying a vehicle, even if it's not paid all the way off, you're not selling it, you're transferring it into your private trust. So you still have to meet the requirements and provisions of your contractual obligation, but the physical ownership of the vehicle would be in the trust. But keep in mind, if you're not trying to do right to travel, you really don't need to go through all of that. If you're just driving, I wouldn't even bother putting it in a trust. If you're gonna do right to travel, then I would put it in your own trust, or do like me, create your own government, put it in that, or whatever entity, as long as it's private. I think you would have to post the link in the chat like StreamYard. I don't even, you might be right. The only share I see says share, like, as in to find out about this, but I think you might be right. I think I did read where it said you can add it in there, and then somebody can hit they can click on it, and then it'll say add to screen or something like that. So I think you're right. I think I did see that. Like I said, I don't really use this. I normally don't slum it using YouTube studio. So don't mind me. Oh man. Even though it's not legal wording term, but me and thankful to hands of mine call ourselves private American nationals or PAN. Yeah. So remember, you don't have to abide by their, and let me say this carefully, you don't have to abide by their rules when you're operating private, but it doesn't mean you can usurp or do criminal things or whatever. But if you call yourself private American nationals or American state nationals, you are legit in the private. In the public, they're going to want the name of your entity or whatever, especially if it's not registered, to be transmuted into something. So if I was like, I'm an American state national or a private American national, they're going to say, well, okay, but what is that as far as within our code system? And I'm going to say, oh, a non-resident or a foreign national of the United States, state citizen. So that's how you do it. But yeah, you're totally legit. So don't misunderstand anybody out there that I'm saying that your group or your terminology is, not a real thing. It's in a way, to me, it's actually better, because if they're saying they don't recognize American state national or private American nationals, cool. Then you don't have jurisdiction over me or my entity. You don't recognize me? Cool. I don't recognize you. And as long as you're not doing anything criminal or denying anybody else their constitutional, private, or common law rights, et cetera, you're good. Frog Dog says, I canceled all my contracts when I buy an auto, put $20 gold silver on the bill of sale, US DOT under trust, and have a FR 44 bond. There you go. Let's see. FR 44 bond. I know what a bond is, obviously. I'm not sure if I ever heard it referred to as a FR 44. So explain that one, Frog Dog, if you get a chance. Then let's see here. If the original tribunal acted in a statutory magistrate capacity, and this is by Right Thugs 6757. If the record does not show separation between the magistrate enforcement and the judicial adjudication, if the proceedings did not proceed. So yeah, I mean, we all know that essentially they're biased, and that in itself is, depending on, it's not the only thing you can use, but it's a good piece, because if they're biased, and we know they are, because the judge and prosecutor are bar members, you're not going to get a fair trial already out of the gate. They're biased, which means they work together because they both have an oath. So they're biased. One's trying to prosecute you, one's trying to, adjudicate you, and they're biased. So that throws the case out. All right. They're both members, and they both took an oath to protect each other. And the bar first. Agent Smith said, some people are not for the information, take advantage of the system because they don't understand. The system takes advantage of us because we don't overstand it. And then we waive our rights to all of that in the event, the moment we hire a lawyer, because we are then deemed incompetent. Corey says, always diamond and dripping. This is my only drip right here. My lady got me it's metal, but it's a wolf fang. Or talon, I guess. You could look at either way. Aren't USPS money orders considered real money too, along with gold and silver? I thought I heard that years ago. Nobody 2519. So depending on who you ask, yes. Because really what it is it should be identified as a a PO or a post office money order, because the post office, which is not the same as the United States Postal Service, though they are intertwined at the hip like conjoined twins, they are American. The post office is American. The United States Postal Service is a third-party agency of the government. Okay? So they work together. And this is one of the reasons why they don't like you using your P.O. box when you update. So don't do it. When you update your address with the court system, because technically, legally, serving a P.O. box is serving you in America, and they don't have jurisdiction there. So that's one of the reasons. Educationally said, entertainment purposes. All right, so Jedi Levent, need help. Is the definition classification under 18 USC 112 national of the United States the same as under GPO 5.23 nationalities? Yes, those are the same thing. The government is telling you that you're a national in the GPO manual. That national is the same as the national under 18 USC 112. They are the same. They are synonymous. They are the same. It is you. They're like this. If you're not smart enough to put it together, even though they slightly changed the classifications, because over the years, they've changed the different names. Oh, we're going to go by national. We're going to go by U.S. national. And then when you had America, Samoa, and Guam come along, they had to create a special listing for those type of nationals. So they started calling those U.S. non-citizen nationals, and then they refer to us as non-citizen U.S. nationals. So, yes, but they're talking about us in 18 U.S.C. 112. The USPS has its own bank. Yes, they also basically operate as their own bank. So they have their own, and they're operating as lightly a bank. But yes. Back in the day, King Tony says you could get an account. Yeah, well, but then they didn't want really to compete. The government didn't want you competing with a treasury account. And then they also really didn't want you to have those accounts in the first place, because they make more money off of the commercial connection they have. Thug6757 says, of the prior ruling, the record must show that the prior tribunal acted with the character, separation, and authority of a court of record, facts, and that the proceeding followed the common law, facts. Facts. Man is speaking facts. At least I think it's a man. If not, it's cool, but pretty sure you're a dude. Usually it's like 80% dudes who watch my channel and participate, other than the jump out girls. So they're like the other 20 or 30%. So thank you for that. Jerron D. Green 4532 says, hey, Badwolf. What's going on, J Money? If I look like I'm looking everywhere and it's crazy, it's because I've got a bigger screen. I've got like a 50-inch above the small screen here. So it's easier for me to read what you guys are got going up there, because, you know, I'm old. So it's easier to read the big screen. A money order is backed by gold through the UPU in Bern, Switzerland. I have heard that. I've not been able to find facts to corroborate it, but yes, I've heard that. And we know Switzerland, they got the gold. A little bit of everybody's goals in Switzerland. Speaking of gold, back in what, the 30, 33 or whenever was it, when they took our gold, you guys do understand that when the government said all U.S. citizens need to give us their gold, they weren't talking about private American nationals. They were not talking about American state nationals. They were not talking about nationals of the United States. They were not talking about foreign nationals. They were not talking about state citizens. They were talking about your police officers, your postal workers, people born in the District of Columbia. Take it for what it is. Glad I got two phones. That was weird. Screen split with an ad. Laughing out loud. Yeah, I don't even know what to tell you what they're probably doing with this YouTube platform that I'm using here. Jump out, girls. Send some hearts. Yeah. Appreciate you. Ghost folks said at King Tony, have you been pulled over? And if so, what was the outcome using that method? Your license, question mark. Thanks. Foreign official as a national seems almost untouchable. You the chief, bro. So for me, for those of you guys who haven't seen my plates, okay, before somebody says you spelled it wrong, yes, I know. I was in a hurry. And I got fat hands and fingers. So foreign is not spelled right here. That was my mistake. So I trashed this plate, but I use it for these purposes. So national, Lovitica national government is registered to the government. It has its EIN. And I'm not going to lie to you and say that by registering my entity with the government and getting EIN for it, that it has not helped me in scenarios for police running my VIN. I'm not going to say it doesn't help. It legitimizes a little bit more. Do you have to do it? No. I'm just telling you, with my experience, that has been it's a help. Even when I went to the car dealership to get my vehicle repaired, they were like, you made your own plates? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, okay. And I was like, why, is there a problem? You know, I was ready for it. I was like, let's go. I was like, I knocked down cops and judges. I got a dealership all day. Let's go, player. And they're like, no. They're like, we ran the VIN. Everything came back as legit. We've just never seen that. So yeah, they already checked out my company. They knew who I was. Anytime people like them or agents ask me questions or talk to some of my people, they already have ran. If you're one of my inner people, they know who you are already. And if you talk to them, you have to be aware of the ones out there trying to be buddy with you and get information. But they already know who you are. So anyway. So, and then of course I use my family crest, nobody else's logos or anything like that. UCC 1-08. That is a, what do you call it? It's a remedy to let commercial individuals know that I'm not doing anything commercial and I'm not contracting with you. And this voids the ticket. If a cop puts this on the ticket, it voids it. One of my clients already had it done in court. Client walked up and said, Your Honor, look at what's on for the license. And the judge knew exactly what these mean and dismissed the case. That was it. So, but the foreign official part you're talking about here with 18 USC 112 is because I form my own government. And a national of the United States is the same as a foreign official, especially when you've created your own government entity. Now, also on there is official guest of the United States. If you just want to use that term, say you got just a trust or whatever else, you're an official guest. You are, and you can also put IPP, internationally protected person. A national of the United States falls under 18 USC 112 as an internationally protected person. Johnny said, how can we find out more information that's not necessarily on the public side? Consultations are good. My website, James C. Lovett, a lot of you guys don't know about that one yet, has a lot of free videos. It has some discounted videos and it's got paid videos. So go there and check out the videos. But if there's anything specific, a consultation will be best because there's a ton of things that we can say, but not on the public side. Remember, YouTube is a public platform. It's .com. It's commercial. .com is commercial. And don't forget the very first websites and utilization of the interwebs and connectivity, that is the internet, was all military mainframes. My mom used to actually help code those things back in the day. And the first websites were all .mil. Okay, now think about if they have that, imagine what they got now. Do you know there's a second internet? You guys know that, right? there's a second internet. Actually, I think technically there's a third internet right now. And they use that. Anytime the government puts out something for commercial or public use, they've got something 100 times better and faster. They are always ahead of the American people. They are, in some areas, they are 10, 50 years. In other areas, they are 100 years more advanced. Sunseed 936 said, got pulled over with the DOT number for curiosity. I have a fee schedule of $10,000 per minute on my tag. Showed passport and all applicable documents. Like I tell you guys, but do not ever have your address in those documents, and especially with a zip code. Don't do it. If they ask you, do you live at this address? No, because they're asking the legal version of you if they are there. No. If anything, you can, if you want to, you can say, I own that property, or that property is owned by my trust, but I wouldn't admit to that. I'd say, no, I'm not a resident of this state. It's not my address. Because their address, they're looking at in their computer as a zip code. My real house doesn't have a zip code anywhere. So no, I'm not giving, because that forms joinder. They want you to form joinder. But Sunseeds 936, after it says showed passport and all applicable documents, he hurried up and let me be on my way. Yes, sir. Agent Smith said, hey, Wolf, just to inform you, I'm working on creating a replica of ChatGPT by the name of Justice. So far, I'm almost done with the public versus private. It's amazing because it's based on the Low library. If you want, email me, and I can probably get you a copy of my chat script to incorporate. So that would be cool. For your project. That is a fire thing to do. I do know there's some other companies, I won't mention their name because they're giving me a couple of dollars so that I don't sue them. But they're using my YouTube platform and information to create a private chat GPT for private nationals, private citizens. So people are on it. But hell yeah, that's fire. Ghost Folk said, what do they say when you give them the passport card? Well, I think that was at King Tony. But I have given them the card. They usually just leave me alone after that. Have a good day. You know, make sure you just slow it down. I've given them the book. Same thing. Especially when they go, what's up with the plates? And I just say they're private. And I say everything's legit. Run the VIN. I've had other people tell me in consultations that they listened to all my information. Cop pulled them over and ran the VIN. And actually, in one video, a cop was ran the VIN because the person did everything I told him to do right. Cop ran the VIN and came back and basically was like, yeah, this entity is not registered for me to give a ticket to. So, you know, just, you know, watch your speed and have a good day. And that was it. I'm telling you guys, all these gurus telling you don't have the right to do this or do that or whatever. They are some emotional ass, you know, individuals because they don't do this every day. Who are you going to talk to? A specialist who does this, lives this life, has been in court and won over it? Or somebody who just goes, well, that's not a real thing. You can't do that. Law. We can do whatever the hell we want to do in the United States of America as long as we're not doing it criminal, or we're not denying somebody of their rights, or we're doing some type of public safety issue. Matter of fact, I found out that if I played my music at night, say it's like 11 o'clock at night, and it's loud, if I'm not actually hurting anybody, I can do that. Even though the city has no noise ordinances and whatever else. As a national, I'm not doing you any damage. Now, in the morning, they might want to come over and fight. You know, but what did Eazy-E say? Niggas my height don't fight. So, there's that. But to be courteous, because I wouldn't want them to do the same to me, I would definitely make sure that I keep my volume down for kids and getting up, because we all know how that is. And that is the national thing to do. That is the state citizen thing to do. King Tony says, I have to do a special appearance to discharge the tickets. I did. So the city courthouse is located in NY. Made 10 of my tickets disappear. I sent the judge his oath in office and used that. Like I said, Tony is another bad wolf. All right, this man right here, one of my first peeps ever rolling with since back in the day, supported me since I think I had like 1,000 people. This man was on it. Also, he throws out there the 3949A form. Yes, sir. Understand, guys, there are multiple ways to pull the rug out from underneath the three little pigs. Okay. Wireman says, learned about the money order gold in the military. Yep. Before credit cards, money was always in American Express traveler's checks. Foreign business would not take traveler's checks, only postal money orders. Exactly. I told you guys, killing it. Come on. This man speaks the truth. I'm telling you guys, I don't have as many I have some, but not like I used to. But military contacts, people I ran with, people in the mob know me. People in different mobs know me. Illuminati cats know me. I've talked to them. They've talked to me. Mason, Templar, police. Matter of fact, a month ago, I had a police officer do a consultation with me. He wasn't the first. He ain't probably going to be the last. And he was like, yeah, I've been watching your videos. I just want to know how to get my money with what do we call it? Tax avoidance, that the IRS even says the taxpayer can do. So the biggest thing is you guys can't be afraid to sue them. You can go after them in their public capacity, private capacity. And remember, one of the biggest things you can go after them for is the judge's job is to interpret the legislation. The cops are the executive. They put hands on people. They execute things. The judge interprets the legislative side. If there is no law against exactly what you are doing, if you are truly operating private, they cannot adjudicate you. How are you going to process me or try to put this under a criminal action? Under what? A U.S. citizen? I'm not operating as a U.S. citizen. Everything I'm talking about falls under common law, first of all. And those courts can hear. They can hear common law. They don't like it. But here's the thing. That's also part of the process. You have to make sure you tell them how you're moving and who you are. If not, they're assuming you're a U.S. citizen and that you're incompetent. And of course, if they don't have the information on the ticket correct, then it has not been perfected. The triangle presents perfection. They have to have all points correct on that document. Your name spelled right, the date, the time, the event, the incident, what they're alleging for you. Ask for discovery. For those of you guys who don't know, I go all the way through the court stuff that I've learned on www.jamesclovett.com. 95% of everything I learned, all the ways, not saying that those are all of them. There's still a couple I haven't put in there for future videos, but all the other stuff is on James C. Lovett under court case, court videos. And then there's, of course, for those people who carry legitimately, we talk about that and what you need to do there. All those remedies, guys, are on the site. Thug says, Damn it, I keep trying to click it and bring it up on the screen. I keep forgetting I won't do that. Common right, court of record, due process, liberty, common law, constitutional, guarantees, protection, facts. Facts. They don't want you to invoke those things. This is why they don't like it if you bring the real American flag in there. They don't like it if you bring the real Constitution or a copy thereof there. They don't like that shit. Because they're going to tell you, had one judge lose himself. He's like, you have no rights in the Constitution in this court. What was he saying? He was saying that that court was not convened for constitutional rights. And you didn't make the declaration that you're here to do to deal with this this estate matter under the Constitution. So they assume that you're operating under the state statutes and codes of the 14th Amendment, U.S. citizen, subject to the jurisdiction thereof. So why are you fighting? We don't understand. It's kind of like you met a girl at the club and you grab her hand and you start taking her to your car to go home and, you know, get down with the business. And she's like, no, stop. No, you playing. You play too much. Stop. But the panties still came off. Zoop. Take that. Even though she kind of was saying stop, she was playing, it seemed like she was playing hard to get. She was negotiating. Legally, that's not an offense if she was trying to say that later, because she did not become a belligerent and combatant and say no. She said it in such a manner that it was in a negotiable venue or term. And so when you have to be clear about what going to court, you have to become a belligerent and combatant, not in the court, but mentally you have to say, no, this is I'm operating under the state's code of, well, in my state, it's 341.40, but the state's non-resident code, and use their stuff against them. Thanks, Wolf. Though not a federally recognized American Indian tribe, I need the clarification on 18 USC 112 and 8 USC 1101A 22, just in case. Try to move them off my square. I see you, brother. So in standing on your square in this matter, the GPO style manual labels everybody as natives under section 5.23. Florida, Floridian, New York, New Yorker, California, Californian, Texas, Texan. 8 USC 1401 states that all nationals and citizens at birth, which means we get both. The national is the private side. The citizen is the public side. If we have both under federal law, Cornell Law, EDU, 8 USC 1401A, then that's where the GPO style manual for the national comes in at. And then you can use 18 USC 112. Okay? And 8 USC 1101A 22B. You can use those. You just combine all those because that's your proof. And then some people might say, "Oh, there's no difference between a national and a citizen." Bullshit. That's when you slap them with 8 FAM 301.1-1 letter B. The differences between a national and a citizen, where it clearly states in most countries a nationality and citizenship are the same thing, but within the United States, the national and the U.S. citizen differ, and they lay it out. So they put these things in pieces so that you don't just get one all-encompassing thing you can use across the board. So you build your binder. If you guys put together all these codes and everything, you print all the pictures, and you're moving right, you are not going to lose damn near anything in any level of court unless they run over you. And if they run over you or railroad you, you sue them for that, because they are supposed to, when you, and I can't think of the correct court legal term, but when they know that you have the correct information to win and then they hide it, that is a felony. They cannot do that. They may, because they don't think you're going to sue them because they're not used to being sued. But anytime they do that, where they deny you of your constitutional, private, common law rights, and they obfuscate the fact that you have the correct information to vindicate yourself in the adjudication process, they've committed a felony. And then now they don't have court immunity. They don't have state immunity because they knowingly did something. And then if a tribunal looks at it and says, yeah, this is clearly obvious, he was telling you what it was, they're screwed even more. Matter of fact, when I was helping a client of mine who won her criminal charge, right? So I do this all day, guys, getting people out of, jail, prison, whatever. We beat her primary criminal charge. They went after her for some petty stuff. We're working on that still. But she then eventually was like, well, let me just get a public defender, right? Public pretender. So I said, yeah, that's fine. Let's just cross-reference and see where we're at. When he looked at everything that we did, that I taught her to do, he said, all of this looks great. The judge clearly ignored this. That's a problem. She should not have been prosecuted on the smaller stuff. And he goes, but you definitely won the first part. And that brought me up to something where in law, it says the courts must accept your form, your submission of information, as long as it's substance over form. Meaning, speaking of cops, there's one driving by my house real slow right now. They always do it, man. Right on camera. Yeah, there you go. It's probably going to stop right about. Hold on. Let's see if he parks. Hold on. Nope. He's gonna keep going. Okay. All right. I was gonna put him on the screen here if he parked. No, he's not gonna park. Okay. All right. They usually do about a block away from my house, just enough to look at my shit. Substance over form, which means as long as the substance of your information can be read and so interpreted with fairly good understanding of what you're trying to accomplish, they are supposed to accept it and they're not to deny it. And that's what they did. They accepted the first part of it, but then the second part of the petty part of it, they still decided to prosecute her on. But see, that's bullshit, because when they arrested her, they didn't have a warrant. They didn't have any of that kind of stuff, right? And they dropped that primary charge. Well, if the primary charge was dropped, that then means that it was an unlawful arrest. And anything that happened after that, like resisting, that they claim she did, but in the video clearly did not, then cannot stand in court. It has no substance, because the resisting arrest never would have happened if the unlawful arrest didn't take place. Just like the one guy who was a drug dealer, this was not my case, and they didn't have a warrant. They broke in, found the drugs, prosecuted him, and then they were like, well, yeah, but you didn't have a warrant. His case got dismissed. Have other wolves have problems with county tax? Blah, blah, blah. Thoughts. We're working on a number of different processes. And on jamesclovett.com, I've got one process where you ask for permission to get the exemption. Remember, only they can say you're tax exempt. Their words. We're also working, and I'm personally right now going through how to remove your property from the tax rolls. I've got both of those videos on jamesclovett.com if you guys want to watch those. But in general, yeah, you're going to have tax problems because your house is still registered under your legal name. Your legal name is registered to them as a voter, and you're never going to remove your legal name out of their system. So you must create something new to put your property in to make it private and tax exempt. Then your choice is either to, and you have to do that whole process properly. And there's some catchy things in there. So if you need me, we can do a consultation. Otherwise, watch the videos on jamesclovett.com. But because they got me for like 2 or 3 years in a row on some little BS. But yeah, you have to move differently. Have you heard of the law of agency? I have not. So let me know in the comments or send me that in my emails. If I miss anybody, I apologize because there's comments are popping up. I'm trying to get to all of them. It takes time. Hey Wolf, how can I update my passport card to get more asterisks? I currently have 3. It's been over a year. So I would update it with the I think it's the, don't quote me, I think it's the DS82 is less than a year. Over a year is the 5504. Update that, put the 09 on the not explain it. What is it? Not the expiration line, but the God damn it! What is the name of it? The line for, it's right next to the expire line. It's the code. Okay, so yeah, put the 09 on the, what the hell's the name of that code? Hold on one second. I don't know why it's slipping my mind. 5.2. Endorsement. There we go. So you got to put the 09 on the endorsement code, send it all in, mail it all back in, and then you should be increased by 1 for sure. But once again, don't get hung up on the stars. We know that the 3 stars in the middle, but it's still functional. It still does what it needs to do. As long as you've done all the rest of it right, you're good. And we know that they're now grading them harder because the secret's out now and they don't like it when their secrets get out. So we know that they've added some new grading criteria, and I've heard they've added something to the do not detain list. They've added some new sections to it, hypothetically. So don't trip, but if you feel some kind of way, then yeah, definitely just update it with the 5504. Nobody says tribunals. Yeah, the tribunal are the lower courts. See, the lower courts are essentially military controlled. They are maritime admiralty jurisdiction primarily, though they can hear common law and I believe equity disputes. Tribunal meaning judged by 3. So the highest judges within their domain are 3 judges that can adjudicate or look over things, but it's a military-based system. So they're a tribunal. That's why they have the gold fringe flag in the courtrooms, and that falls under Army Regulation AR 840-10, use of the gold fringe flag. Tony says, do not detain is official, and I domicile in New York State. Correct, brother. Man, always sharp, brother. Always best dressed in the Midwest, I see. I posted a picture of what it looks like for informational purposes, the do not detain list, or not the full list, but essentially what a police officer sees. All right. That is on blacksite32.com in the picture section for entertainment purposes. Allegedly. It's been going around on the internet. So there. What else we got here? Frog Dog says 1.88 million active claim against 2 judges, 2 prosecutors, 3 deputies. Herein, the corrupt judge closed the trap. They've been gang stalking me since they stole our elections and opened our borders. Big John. King Tony said, all police is a gang. Facts. They are a gang. And when you find out that, and first of all, not all of them are bad, because I do have family, my ex-neighbor. I've had one cop. Let's just say I could have been arrested for some things, but he knows who I am, and he made sure that it didn't happen. So they're not all bad. I do have some cops on the payroll. There are reasons why I may or may not get certain information. But there are definitely some slime balls, and the system does have corrupt aspects in it all day. 100% hands down. But when you understand that the police are a private security detail for 14th Amendment U.S. citizens operating in the public, they are not true law enforcement. Sheriffs, marshals, most sheriffs have gone corporate. So they're basically starting to fall into the police category of corporatized. But them and marshals are American law, or they ought to be. They are supposed to know the true law. All the other agencies are really like private security. I mean, you can't go up to them and say that, then they're going to be like, oh, yeah, they're not going to know what you're talking about. It's going to sound like all that crazy sovereign stuff, right? But it's true. They have the ability to get into a national's affairs only if he or she is doing something criminal, or they're denying somebody of their rights, or they're creating a public controversy like speeding. Then you're opening the door because they assume that maybe something has happened. You're not okay. You need their help because they can administer anything in the public that either is within their jurisdiction, which means the 14th Amendment U.S. citizen, not the whole area. They don't own the area. They own people and things registered to them within the geographical area. The national is their boss. The state citizen is their boss. They shouldn't even be making eye contact with you. They should actually basically fear you. They don't. And they don't have to, but they're supposed to they're supposed to look at you as, when you identify yourself properly, as their boss. Now, obviously not their boss. They have one, but you are their boss's boss. So guess what does that make you? They answer to the people, but the people have not been making them answer for anything. We don't get together. We don't know how to do it anymore. No one's going around getting petitions and creating websites against the banks, the police, the judges, the whatever else. No one, everybody's like, you're on your own. Sorry, that don't affect me. I'm over here, player. And though you see me drinking this Gatorade, I normally don't drink Gatorades. One, way too much sugar. Two, they've added a lot more chemicals in it. But at least this one, the Frost, they have less bullshit in it. And I put maybe about a quarter of it juice, and then the rest of it water. And then I put beet powder and bitter or tart cherry, pomegranate, lemon powder, and some what's the other one? Cranberry? I mentioned cranberry? If not cranberry, all in there. And let me tell you, gentlemen, it helps you in all the areas. And if you're eating fatty foods, you need to get your veins cleared out. I use K1, K2, D3, and pomegranate and olive oil. Yeah, so those are some of the things for educational purposes. And if you want more health advice or health education and theory, then I have a free video on jamesclovett.com. So y'all go over there and support. Even if you guys don't buy any of the paid videos, go get all the free videos, because there's some on there. I guarantee you're going to learn some things. That's all I'm going to say. Thug says there is no grant of power over the people's common rights. Correct. Because the common rights under common law, common sense, they don't have jurisdiction over. They have jurisdiction over their own members. The public is really a PMA. It's a private members association for the code enforcers. That's why they're called police policy enforcers. It's in the name. Somebody said, so there's no more Black Site 32. Oh, no. Yeah, there's two. I have two sites now. Maybe I didn't make that clear. There's Black Site 32 for the normal files and things. The videos are on jamesclovett.com. I couldn't, they won't let me store the videos on the provider that I have with Black Site 32. But if you go to Black Site 32 and you click on seminar videos or seminars, it'll take you right to my other site. Or if you type in James C. Lovett on its own, it'll take you to the other site. So there's two sites. And yes, Sunseed says the Supreme Court has ruled that police have no duty to protect the citizen. Yeah, one could argue they're supposed to have a duty to protect their own, which is the U.S. citizen, but maybe not us as state citizens. But that's we could argue that. But what they're saying here is that the officer the officer protects the corporation, okay? And they have a written oath of protecting each other, backing the blue line. But they do not have to endanger themselves to protect any citizen, national or 14th Amendment. Fuzzy Booger said, if good cops existed, bad ones would not. Well, the truth of that is that they both exist, but like I say in my videos, how many bad cops then do you have if the good cops who are meant to keep things good do not report or are complicit with the bad ones? It says, yeah, all pigs are corrupt. I would disagree, only because I know that my nephew's wife, who now understands this information, she also quit the force because she started to see all the inner corruption. So I definitely cannot say that all of them are bad. I've met some good ones. I mean, hell, I'll even go as far as to say that, like, the ones that don't bother me when they pull up behind me or next to me, they're not the bad ones. Usually it's the bad ones. But everybody's got different experiences. And trust me, after all the stuff I got into this because of being bothered by police officers, the bad ones. So I just can't say all are corrupt. I just can't say like all Asian or all bad or all blacks or all white, all gay, all whatever, straight. I can't say there's all in anything, but I'll say this. There's enough. There's definitely enough. More than my likes or tastes. Blueprint said Roman Enclave. Yes. Corey says, have you ever heard of Tanoa Downing and the constitutional activist? Yeah. Him and Jessica, I can't think of her name. I was going to have her on my show, but she never got back with me and I never followed up. But yeah, I know who they are. They used to be together in some kind of way. And then I think they had a relationship and then it fell apart. So now they do their own thing separately. King Tony says, I definitely have to pay for a consultation. You're usually pretty good. So if you say you need something, I'm gonna have to put my thinking cap on. You know, if you're coming my way, it's been a while, but I got you, brother. Somebody's quoting fruits from a poisonous tree. Yep. Jedi 11 says, why doesn't endorsement 09 for the DS11 seem to only refer to America Samoa and Swain? Are they pulling the wool over our eyes? No. So you have to go to 8 FAM 505.2, slide down to endorsement code 09. it doesn't say anything at all about America Samoa or Swain. They're the ones telling people that that one is for those people. I've already done a video on this. What they're doing is they're trying to obfuscate the information. Okay? So there's two classifications of national within our system. That is the non-citizen U.S. national, which is what they refer to as us, which is also called the national or a U.S. national. Then, and that's under 8 U.S.C. 1401 and 8 U.S.C. 1101A 22B. And then there's the Samoa and Guam, which is under 8 U.S.C. 1408, I believe. And they're called U.S. non-citizen nationals. But both of those fall underneath the 09 code because they're nationals. So don't let them get it fool you or get it twisted. They're playing a game. All right. So if you read it, it basically it doesn't say anything in there underneath the 09 code about America, Samoa, or Guam. There's like what, 6,000 Samoans in Guam that qualify for that? You think that they would make a whole special section for them? No. What it is it's for us, but when they see where you're born and they encode it differently between you as a national and them as a Guam Samoan national by your birth document. Your birth document sets up which one of those. So, but they lump it all together. So that's why they try to what's going on, John Wick? Everybody watch your mouth. John Wick's in the house. Question. So if the police say we broke a law and they are policy info enforcement, isn't that fraud? Well, in a way, yes, because they're trying to force joinder from you as a state citizen and private citizen or national into the 14th Amendment statutory jurisdiction. So yes, you're correct, but that's how I have to phrase it. Can you get property tax exemption if property is registered in a trust? Yes, but you're going to have to get the property tax assessor's property tax exemption form and verify that they accept trusts. Or you're going to have to attach it and convince them as to why, depending on what type of trust you've created, should qualify for them to call it tax exempt. Only they can say something's tax exempt. Only the IRS can call you tax exempt. Now, you or your house could have, as a national, how we say it, zero tax obligation or liability. That's how you say it in the free world. Got it? I had to learn that just this last month. If you say something is tax exempt, that means that it has gone before the appropriate authority and has been so exempted. If not, you can't say that. Blueprint 1721. I'm going to need a consultation as well, Big Bro Wolf. Yeah, I got you. Pimpin'. Corey says, love pomegranate. Pomegranate also has anti-aging properties in it as well. So I'm gonna be staying on my thingy thing. John Wick said everybody's cool, just no fast moves, and everybody will get home after this live performance. Okay, cool. Everybody be cool. Thug says we got a tornado warning. I got to go to the basement. Oh hell yeah! Go. I mean, you can always take your phone down there with you, but yeah, hell yeah! Don't worry about this, man. Go get it. Hell yeah! Be safe. Blessings and prayer over you and your family and your house. because tornadoes be doing some hellified damage. That is the finger of God. I am totally going to probably slaughter this name because I haven't spoke Spanish in a while. Honorito, Honorito, 1832. Sorry, I know I probably slaughtered it. I haven't spoke Spanish fluently in years. A 508c1a. Yes, you can do a 508c1a as a entity, a faith-based entity, an unincorporated association, or as a trust. And what I like about the 508s, guys, and I do sell them on Black Site 32, is that the 508, per the IRS and the government, does not need a certificate of determination. If you create almost any other trust or type of entity and you want to say it's tax exempt, you're going to need to have a certificate of determination issued by the IRS if you need to prove that you're tax exempt to somebody else. Wireman says, I see a consultation in my future. Yeah, keep in mind, guys, I'm probably booked out about 2 weeks, so just plan that, okay? If you choose VIP, then you get to line skip. It's a little bit more, of course, but there's that part. Can you speak Tagalog? Well, it's funny you say that. Officially, no. Do I know a couple of words? Yeah, but that was when I was with baby mama because she spoke it fluently. And here's one of the things, guys, especially if you get with a girl and she never teaches you her language, she speaks foreign language, it's a bad sign. That means they don't want you to know what they're talking about when you're around. And next, do not get a foreign girl who's been here and Americanized. Either go right to the homeland or get one here and make sure she has old school, old country traits. Don't just fall in love because she's, the sexy little thing, brown eyes, brown hair, petite and all that. Nope. Do your homework. Don't be like me. Even though I got a great kid out of it, I chose to make her a baby mama. And then she wants to keep the one great thing she's ever had in her life away from me. Imagine that. So I digress, but no, I don't speak Tagalog. I don't speak any language other than English fluently anymore, but Greek, Latin, Spanish, French, a couple of words in Russian, a couple of words in German. That's all I got. I don't get to use any of those anymore. Like, not too many people really just communicate with that. So I haven't been in Germany in years and whatever else. So, not of its foreign trust. No. So the way this works, guys, what they don't want you to know is there's two jurisdictions right here underneath your feet right now. If you tap into the U.S. corporation with the normal things we do, you're in that jurisdiction. That jurisdiction is legal. There goes a secondary cop passing my house. That secondary jurisdiction, by law, the United States, meaning the corporation, is foreign in relationship to the United States of America. So when you create anything in the private and it is not registered, it's in America. It has no obligation to be registered. It has no obligation to pay taxes, period. It's under the Constitution. You have that as a right. But when you register something, whether it's your ass, cash, or grass, your kids, your dog, your house, your whatever, you're waiving your complete authority and you're reciting you're resident the identity of it into their jurisdiction. When that happens, you don't have full say-so. That's why they can ticket you. They can tow your car. Otherwise, everything you do is legally considered private, foreign, and international to them. Because if you're not American and you're here doing business the way they are, for profit like the states and whatever else, then they should be under the Foreign Agent Registration Act. And they should have one of those documents filled out. Sunsi said, don't worry, they just love you. Yeah, well, love you for a green card. Love you long time. Not even long time. Love you medium time. D Real said, can you become a national from having a green card or permanent resident? Well, just in having those, no. Legally, no. Okay. But by you being here and leading that up to being a U.S. citizen, once you get citizenship, you then get nationality. Off books, you just physically being here is a form of naturalization. Love you overlooked their Adam's apple. Who told you I went to Thailand? No, I have not been to Thailand, nor have I ever partook. She was from the Philippines. But yeah, be careful if you go to Thailand or any of those places, because some of them got the Adam's apple. But hey, if you're into that, do what you do. You just ain't got to worry about getting Herman pregnant. There's that. If you're into that, you know. I know some of my guys are like mouth to mouth. So whatever floats your boat. To everybody, whatever you guys do and all the dirty things you filthy little wild beasts and maniacs do is on you. Lord knows I'm going to need a lot of you guys to pray for me when I'm in front of the Creator, because I done some wild shit in my day, but no lady boys. All right, at least not knowingly. I don't think so. All right, so what else we got here? So it's better to be a state citizen, have things registered with the state. So you guys are, if you were born here or you naturalized, you already are a state citizen by your birth. This goes out to George. So if you were born in Texas, you're a Texan. GPO Style Manual, Section 5.3. The word state citizen means the same thing as national. They're synonymous, so you already have it. There's nothing to give. I can't give it to you. Nobody can give it to you. It's been bestowed upon you or bestowed upon you. Citizenship is a man-made thing, concept, and it has been granted to you by the powers that be, the government. So you have both. So have things registered with the state. If you want to register your things with the state, by all means. I'm just telling you there's no law. And if you don't want to pay taxes on certain things, then you need to find out the proper way of not registering it to them, but creating your own private thing to register it to. And then that's a, what they call it, a catch-22. It's a closed loop contract. This is what the UCC is. When you create a trust, it's a closed loop contract. The law states that we have the right to contract unlimited, and nobody can interfere in your contract. So if you create your own government, nation, tribe, house, empire, trust, whatever on the private side, they're not supposed to, by law, nor can they, unless the Supreme Court or federal court breaks it, which takes a lot of doing, interfere with what you got going on. So if your private automobile, and here's the thing too, guys, riddle me this. When you bought your car and you looked at the sales receipt, especially if it was brand new, it said they're selling you a what? An automobile. So when and why did it become a motor vehicle? When did that happen? When you registered it, when you registered it, when you recited it from the private into their domain. When you're at the dealership, the moment you're like, yeah, I want this car, and you start to sign the papers, that's a private transaction. It's not registered yet. It's yours, and you don't have to register it. You register it because you believe you need it to drive, which is true, and you want that privilege, which is true. That's the only way you can use the roads. That's not true. But your vehicle is tax exempt and private right in that little window. And then as soon as you say, oh, yeah, send it off to the state, you're going to get your paperwork. Here's your certificate of title. And then we're going to send your MCO off to the state. Now you've become a member of theirs and you've just pledged your property. Then you actually go and put your name down to register for plates. Now you've become a member and your vehicle has become their property, and their people and their property have to have, for commercial purposes, a license. However, you can use that license and that vehicle as you see fit, semi-privately, even though it's re-registered for commercial use. Why do you think you can use your driver's license and just start doing Uber or DoorDash? That's commercial, because your regular driver's license has two built-in features, one for the commercial side and one for you to use it less commercial, but privately for yourself. Those people are called private persons. Private persons are 14th Amendment U.S. citizens who are not operating in public capacity at the moment, not operating commercially at the moment, but they're still on the public side. So you're a public person, or a private person. That's a private person. A private citizen or national is a no obligation for tax, private individual, national of the United States. So what they're running, and the quote from George here, is that it's a business. When you become a employee of any business, they give you an employee name or an employee number or whatever else, something unique. Well, that's what the states did. And all of the state ofs, not Florida state, state of Florida, state of Wisconsin, state of California, those, the for-profit businesses, corporations, they all got together so they control what they do in their geographical area. And then they work together to share information against you. That's a business. You joined their business so that you can go anywhere in the area as a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen plugged into their system as an employee and member of theirs. None of them can tell you or talk about the private. So don't mix the public and the private. And as answer George, yes, exactly. It's imperative to learn the public and the private. You've been learning the public your entire life, but some of you guys don't know how to master the public side. The private side, not that many people teach. They just kind of go, oh, well, here's a process you can do, pay me a lot of money, because they themselves don't really live in the private. My house is in the private. My vehicle's in the private. Almost everything I have. I think I've got one bank account that's left on the public side. And that's only because I've been too busy and somewhat lazy to, even though I've got the damn files, to just go and transfer my bank account into a trust account. So what to say when the dealer says the automobile needs to be registered? When they say that, okay, especially if you're buying it brand new, you're going to ask them for the MCO. They're going to say, well, we can't give that to you. That's for the state, and that's for the DMV. You're going to say, under what law? What law says that my private automobile I'm paying for here needs to be registered? I told, when you probably missed the story I read in the beginning of it. I don't know if I can find it. Let's see. But I have a where is it? I can't. It's not there. Give me 1 second. Okay, I can't find the exact email. Let me check one more spot. Found it. Okay, so here's an email from one of my clients. He says, greetings, just had a call with this person over at Mercedes Corporate. In summary, corporate called the dealer where we bought the automobile, and the agent for Mercedes explained to the dealer that there is a procedure. There's a procedure to provide the customer with the MCO. The dealer now knows the process. She went on to explain that the state of blah, 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 Department of Motor Vehicles somewhat forces and strong arms the dealers to not provide the MCO to the customer. And at this time, since the vehicle, the automobile has been registered, it is out of Mercedes' hands. So that's the window to get it, guys. So he's now going after the DMV to provide it. And if they don't, he's going to sue them and the state and some other people. All right. So that's the business. All right. We've got 96 people watching and we've got 85 thumbs up. Let's get a couple more thumbs going on in here. Not that way. Got to be careful what you say. Otherwise, the Diddy monster might show up. All right. So what else we got here? We're going to wrap this up in probably like 10 minutes. Appreciate the Sunseed and others. Facts, fire, 100%. Frog Dog says, that is similar to what I did, but I did not sue. I just used their own codes and recreated the MCO with evidence of everything. Okay. Yep. That is one way to get it done. So what they're telling you here from one of our other viewers, like I said, there's people out there who are doing these things, guys. They're putting boots on the ground, BOG, and he's ready to sue them. I mean, you're going to get paid. What's going to cost you $500 to sue them, and you should be going after them for at least $250,000 all day. And he's saying that there is a procedure. So if you go to the dealership and they don't know, either contact the manufacturer and tell them to contact the dealer, or tell the dealership you want to speak to the owner or somebody higher up and tell them that you know for a fact there is a procedure for the customer to receive the MCO upon purchasing the vehicle, especially if it's brand new. Used, it's probably long since gone. So good luck on that one. But a brand new one, yes. And you want to inform them that there is no law requiring on a private transaction for the DMV or the state, any third party that you don't have a relationship with, to hold your property indefinitely. Because then what they do is they then give you the certificate of title, and your OG one is gone forever. Somebody had put on there, we need help in the UK. I think that was Zorro, right? So everything we're talking about here, Zorro, is can be used in the UK for the most part. But keep in mind, your system is though it's our system here is came from your system, or the system in use in the UK. But we have the Constitution to kind of protect us and give us a second layer of protection. I would have to sit down and see what you guys all have. And hell, they hide it here. So you're going to have to do some digging. You know, it might be hidden under religious claim or laws. It might be in international treaty and law, indigenous. So you may have to do some digging. Because they perfected that shit over there and they got it basically lock, stock, and barrel. Here, the forefathers, though they came from your country, were like, we're going to make sure that that shit over there does not happen over here. But surprise, it did. But we're giving you guys a way out, which is the Constitution. Thug says, I think they just don't understand the Constitution. In fact, they don't, because understand means to stand under it. So they're not standing under it. They're like, what is the word? They're abridging the Constitution. They're stepping away, or they're over here. They're like, nope, nope. You guys have your Constitution. That's for you guys. We have our own thing. And the law allows them, groups, these gangs, these whatever, to do their own business the way they want to do it within their own group in their own area for their own people. So they're abridging the Constitution. But in that, we can do the same thing. In that, we can say, well, we're not a part of your group. I'm not operating as a public citizen, 14th Amendment U.S. citizen. I'm in private capacity as a national. So that's what the dealio is. All right. Lux Links Jewelry, LUXELINK Jewelry, just became a wolf pup. So thank you. I think that might be my guy. Don't think I knew they did jewelry, but may not be. But thank you for joining as a member. Let's see what else we got. George says, you cannot declare your private. You have to conduct yourself in the private. You can declare yourself private, but you have to word it the right way. Okay. You can actually get your document done under jurat, notarized. But you're not really going to say private. What you're going to do is to say 8 USC 1401. I operate as a national in my primary capacity to speak their language, and that you are not subject to operating as a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen unless by your choice, should you decide to reside in the moment of the event. Revolutionary says, so what if you buy the car in your business name, but I'm the guarantor, and if you are financing, can I still receive the MCO? I believe you should. I know if you're buying it all the way outright, definitely. The MCO, generally, I think they like to hold it, and then they're supposed to give it to you when you pay it all off, but they don't. They give you the certificate of title. I don't think there's any law against that, no positive law for sure, because it's a private transaction between you and a dealer. Even though you're getting financing, your financing is still third party and private in relation to the state. DJ M. Frell, what's up, Badwolf? My name is pronounced DJ MF, like motherfucker, Rel. But I'm definitely doing a consultation soon. I'm a Forex and crypto trader, so I'm going to need your private citizen expertise. Got you. I already know where you're going with it. I've done a couple of those already. Cyan Razor Cell says, my bank is being an ass and not letting me have control over how much of my money I transfer into a different account now. I should learn more about setting up a new bank account. Yes, they're imposing how much money you can pull out. They're imposing how much money you can transfer from account to account by the day, by the month. Some of it is for security so that nobody can just wipe you out. But still, I'll tell you what, I've been looking into being my own bank. Okay. And you do that by getting a cash value or whole life policy. And you put all your money in there. You make your money work for you. You can loan against it. Creating your own bank account, that's one of the ways. All right. Or you're going to need to find a foreign bank to do business with who's not going to limit you. But that's what they want to do, is limit your transactions Know what you're doing, who's getting it, how much, where, when, how, who, what, with all that. Yeah. I have a just enrichment with a bank was issued. Cease and desist time is running out. Need to understand W to move forward. Yeah, I may have to talk to you on that one. I'm not sure what. Nobody 2519 just sent $20. Thank you guys. And he says, or they say, thank you for everything, Mr. Wolf. I appreciate you. Right back at you. Is a 98 series foreign grantor trust generally considered the most secure trust to keep assets out of any other country's jurisdiction? Well, when you make a trust, you have to label it as belonging to some place jurisdictionally. So when you say a 98 series foreign grantor trust, you're basically saying you've contacted the IRS, you got a 98 series number, an EIN for it, and you're telling them that your trust is located in another country. That's pretty good. There is no 100% safe, but what you're saying, that is one of the top ways. Creating your own nation and then creating your own trust based in that nation is one of the strongest ways you can ever create something. But because it's still yet based in America, the Supreme Court could still break into it, or the federal court, if you're doing something illegal. Fraud Dog says, my auto is already in a trust. I believe if you put them in a registered business name, that's no different than putting it in your own name. It can be, but the difference, if you're speaking about like what I have done, is if you get an EIN a certain way under a certain type of structure, the federal government recognizes your entity and structure as how it's been submitted. That is not the same as registering it to the state or under the state via the DMV. It's not the same thing. But does it give them any type possibly of a leeway? Yeah, but a little tiny bit. But what are the odds the federal government's going to say, hey, Mr. Lovett, you can't use your EIN and your government that you created that we already authorized you to do business with, though it's private and somewhat you can use it somewhat on the public side for what you're doing. That's what the states did. All the states did is they went to the government and they got an EIN to do business the way they're doing it. And they created a product, a service, a privilege of creating plates and the registration process. You don't think we can do the same thing? You think they're more powerful than we are? Becoming a church envoy or having a ministry is, I heard, is good too. Oh, absolutely. That's actually one of the highest protected things. See, it goes God, religion, private law, and then it turns into kind of a horse of peace, equal power, common law, statutory law, and all the rest of them. But why do you think, and I hate to say this, but it's the truth, why do you think these little kid touchers get away with what they do and they just get shuffled somewhere else? Because they're all under the Vatican, religious. They're operating under religious law. So they're not operating under U.S. law. They're operating under religious law in the U.S. You see what I did there? So when we're operating our entities, here's one of the things that I found out recently. Okay. I'm not going to give you all of my information, but I created my own ID from my own government. This is Lovitica National Government's ID. When I'm in my vehicle, I use this name which is not James Lovett, and this ID. I don't even use my passport. I have it hidden in case I absolutely need it. Because think about it. If a police officer doesn't get into trouble because he's operating under the state's jurisdiction, ExxonMobil dumps $1.5 billion of oil and nobody on the ship or whatever else gets into trouble because they're all operating as agents, then why are we not operating as agents of our own things? Sorry, can't arrest me. I'm operating as an agent while traveling privately in this vehicle owned by this agency, government, trust, unincorporated association, religious, 508c1, 508c1a, FBO. Pharrell said, I think everyone would like more of these kind of videos. Interactive lives are very informative, just as your recorded content. Yeah. I mean, I do lives. You know, I just did the big one last week. That was for pay when I could then see when I do the lives for pay, my Zoom conferences on Black Side 32, then I can go into detail. I don't have to worry about what I'm saying. So I do these to generate awareness of those conferences, my seminars, those videos, things of that nature. But I know people like these a lot more, obviously. So yeah, I just try to spread it around. And Eric says all courts in this country are business for profit registered on the yeah, none of these are almost none of there's only like 3 equity courts left. All the rest of them are essential, other than the Supreme Court, which is starting to look, operate, and behave like a for-profit business. They're starting to infiltrate that. But yeah, they're all Nisi Prius, basically, or contract courts, corporate stuff. Asme 1982 says, good day, Lord of Lovitica. I greet you as well. Asme 1982. Do you think was it justice advocacy CA? Do you think if writing a letter to the Secretary of State, letting them know that the vehicle is used for personal use and not for commercial, do you think that will work? Absolutely. Matter of fact, when I want to know, it's funny, I did a video and I read accidentally in I think it was either Louisiana or Georgia, that you're supposed to let them know, the Secretary of State, that you're operating private with your vehicle, non-commercial. One, they're supposed to offer you the ability to have a private plate created by the DMV. Not all, but they're supposed to in general. 2, you offer them not a treaty, but a reciprocity agreement. Reciprocity agreement states that you are telling them, like, let's say I was going to do it, okay? So I would say something along the line. This is all made up, but let's just say. So I would say, as the Lord of Lovitica, my government, my nation, if any of your citizens were to operate in our areas, which I don't have areas, you know, they would be welcome, tax exempt, and private or public. I am formally requesting the same in reciprocity to the state of Michigan. So you've not only told them that you operate privately, you offered them a reciprocity agreement, meaning I will travel in your lands without constraint and whatever else, which also is part of interstate commerce or interstate travel, and the ability to do that privately, and so forth, back and forth, reciprocal. Peace to the wolf. Thank you. Corey says, yeah, make your money, that part. Yeah, I got to make money too. Like, I probably get less than $200 on the good side for donations. You know, I do make a little bit on YouTube, but YouTube actually reduced what they pay out by like 25%, or maybe it was just me. I don't know. I know it was me. I don't, you know, even though that wasn't a whole lot in the beginning, you know, but it's less now. Jump Out Girl said, great live, Wolf. We are jumping out here. You ladies keep doing, just keep doing it. Keep rocking and rolling. Appreciate you guys. And yes, that brings me to seeing that it is about time. Cyan says, yes, I recently got into Clifford's Envoy protocol that I learned about from this channel. We present information. Badwolf Unincorporated doesn't co-sign anybody's group or whatever else, because I can't watch what they do. So anytime you see anybody else's information mentioned here or whatever, it's up to you to do your own due diligence, okay, before spending money or giving any information. So just be careful, because, you know, I've heard good and bad about a lot of people out there, good and bad about me too. So as always, be careful and vet your information. And if it sounds like a lot of money, if you even remotely have to think, man, if I save up, or, you know, if I get 2 checks, then just don't do it. Keep studying. Keep looking around. Find it somewhere cheaper. Are licenses, registration, and permits constitutional? Well, depends on how you look at that phrase. The Constitution allows for you to do business, and whatever you and your members agree to is constitutional. However, the law also states that anywhere where they charge a license or a fee for a benefit or privilege that you can do otherwise without them can be ignored with impunity. So the Constitution allows for them to provide for licenses, registration, and permits. But at any point in time, if you no longer want to participate and they try to force you or penalize you for it or not having it, that's unconstitutional and unlawful. So the Constitution does allow for anybody to have their own private jurisdiction, which is what the public is. The public is really a PMA. What we call the public, and they call themselves the public administration, public law, public ordinance, public code, is really a private members association, so large that it's called the public. And they allow you to join it by law because you're given nationality and citizenship. You're born with nationality, you're given citizenship. That's a man-made thing, and it is inferior. Everything man-made is inferior. Damn the war gods. I like other cars and trucks if they don't have the MSO on transactions. Can I still get it? The MSO, probably not. Can you create your own version of it? Absolutely. Get it notarized, put all the information in there. That then becomes an original document. Think about it. If I have a boat and I want to sell you, and you a boat, okay, and I have 3 boats apparently, or however many. I don't. But in this case, I do. And I lost the original document. Whatever piece of paper I create and we draft up the agreement, I don't have to get it notarized, but that helps. That becomes the original document. That then is the new MCO or MSO. Now, if they want to take that note, that letter I drafted, notarized or unnotarized, fingerprint, no fingerprint, stamp or no stamp, and they want to bring that into the public to register it, the state will probably say, well, give us what you do have over that vehicle. And that would be that document. And then they would register it and give you a certificate of title for it. their official mock version of the original. Now they've got jurisdiction over that boat because you brought it into their backyards. Smoug's cave of jewels, you just brought it in there. You brought the paper into their domain. And that paper link is a link to your boat and its use. Anywhere in the continental area is their jurisdiction. All right, guys. I want to thank each and every one of you guys. I want to thank all my top fans, Johnny, Sunseed, Nobody, Thug, Agent Smith, King Tony, Wireman, Frog Dog, Corey, Justice Advocacy, El Petro, Renzo, Jump Out Girls, all of you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I apologize for the stream being a little choppy. It's whatever YouTube's crappy, they should work on interface studio thing. I will try to do better. I will also do better for you guys and more information coming out soon. Always know that if you want to know when I'm doing another paid Zoom conference, go to blacksite32.com and click on the link Zoom conference. Join up for the newsletter. It's also there. That lets everybody know when I'm doing things. If you guys want the paid videos, counted videos, and the free videos, go to jameslovett.com. I'm also out there on most other platforms in the public, TikTok, Instagram, all that. Telegram as well. Just make sure that nobody out there is pretending to be me. I will never ask you for any nudes or your social or your crypto this or to invest in me. Everything is done through blacksite32.com or jameslovett.com. Don't trust anybody else, even if it looks like me, whatever else. Only those two sites. That is it. And I'll talk to you guys later. Stay healthy out there. It's the beginning of spring, so enjoy it. Live your life the best you know how. Improve every day. And I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for supporting me in every kind of way. Peace.